Now, we're going to discover that Hosea has 3 children, and God has them named significantly. The first was Jezreel, which means scattered, and it refers, in effect, prophetically to a time when God would scatter Israel among the nations. Then he has 2 daughters, Lo-Ruhamah, which means unpitied, meaning that God would lift his mercy upon the nation, and God would permit them to suffer for her sins. That's why that's the emergent message that comes out of that child. And that other child was named Lo. Lo is no in Hebrew. And we were in a light plane with our previous one of our previous trips to Israel. We were flying over the Galilee in a light aircraft, and one of our key guides was with us in the plane. As the little light Cessna took off, kept saying, "Low, low, low." So the pilot tried to stay lower. No, she wanted off the plane. That means no, no, no. And but anyway, so Lo-Ruhamah, no pity, and Lo-Ami means not my people. And those are going to get changed as a positive sign later. But they're here, they mean not my people, indicating that at the present time it's referring to, in God's program, Israel will be out of fellowship with God. And their people are not his people as they once were. Not permanently, very important point. That's going to get repaired, but there will be a period then. And so you're going to see in chapter 2, there's going to be a time when God will speak of them as not my people and not having mercy, but it's going to get reversed before we're through. Okay. Now, the last 2 verses of chapter 1 that we just finished with in our previous session saw several prophecies. That Israel would experience a great increase in population was in verse 10 of the last chapter. The nation there'd be a great turning to God. That's also in verse 10. That the northern and southern kingdoms will be eventually reunified into a single nation was prophesied in the last chapter. We're going to talk a lot more about that as we go. And they're going to appoint themselves one head who will be their Messiah. That's all prophesied in the Old Testament. And we need to understand, God is not through with Israel. One of the great tragic heresies prevalent in our culture is that the church has replaced Israel. Not so. Israel and the church have different origins and different destinies. The nation Israel was birthed in the Exodus. They went in as a family, came out as a nation. And they have a destiny to be reunited and to be the primary vehicle of God's will on the planet Earth before it's all over. It's important to understand. The church is an entity in a very unusual parentheses that we'll talk more about as we go. Okay, but ultimately they'll be under one head and they'll be under their Messiah, and there will be national restoration. That's the positive that is inserted all through Hosea's message as he deals with the dark stuff.